Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now, my opening line has just been spiked. I was literally about to say, well, I'm going to have to start this video anyway because once the helicopter noise begins, it never stops. But it stopped. So I don't have to worry about that unless it comes back, in which case I apologise in advance. I don't know why they fly helicopters overhead sometimes, but they do. I think it's all police, and I don't know what they're looking for, but I hope they found it this time. Now, let's prepare to try a loop puzzle today. I've been doing a few on the channel lately with loops in, and, well, one or two anyway, and I like them. So this one's a bit different from the others. We'll have a look at it. It's by Klausku, who's been on the channel before and is pretty tough from what I remember. So this could be tricky. You can look at the video length to check whether that hunch is right. You can also look at the links under the video to find your way to all of our apps, which include Killer Sudoku and Line Sudoku, which I think is relevant today. And what else have we got? We've also got, of course, our merchandise, Sven Sudoku Pad, and Patreon, where there's loads of extra Cracking the Cryptic content always, and we welcome you to it. On the 1st of next month, we will bring you the October monthly reward, and we're looking forward to it. It's Halloween themed. It's as anything in October probably should be. And it's by the Paint by Numbers Institute. So you can definitely expect some Japanese sums puzzles. Now, what else do I have to say to you? I don't think there is anything. So, oh, well, I mean, there's us going to be talking in Stratford upon Avon. Yeah, that's, I think, a week after next month's Times Crossword Championship, which I'll be at. I won't be going to the World Sudoku Championship, as mentioned yesterday. I don't know. If anything else occurs to me, I will mention it as we go. But I'm now going to do the rules of Prime Loop by Klausku, and we will see what we will see. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. That's 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. In a cage, digits cannot repeat, and they sum to the total indicated if one is given. So in this cage, they add up to 10. There is a 1-cell cage with no number and a 3-cell cage with no number. We'll find out why later in the rules. We have to draw a looping region sum line. The loop can move. Now, what loop means in this context is it's continuous and it joins to itself. The loop can move orthogonally or diagonally. Box borders divide the loop. This is what makes it a region sum line. Box borders divide the loop into segments that sum to the same total. The loop consists only of prime digits and visits every box. And the loop never travels through cages. Okay, now there are some rules about what the loop does do there. And there are some normal loop rules or line rules that are not there, including nothing about whether it can touch itself. So we have to assume it can loop back on itself. Let me draw that with the pen tool, because we might be using that. Let me draw that with the pen tool. So that could be a segment of the loop, potentially. There's no reason why it couldn't. And no, well, I mean, and diagonally. So it could do, that wasn't what I was trying to do. It could do that. This is a strange and very, very free-form loop. Now, prime digits are also defined as 2, 3, 5, or 7. Klausku didn't define those and would rightly point out that there is no need to. They are the only prime digits in the Sudoku range. But we did do a puzzle on the channel only a few months ago where 1 was counted as a prime. So, even though it's not. So, not mathematically considered so these days. It is a definitional matter, perhaps. Anyway, those are the rules. I hope you got them. I think I did. The important thing, I think, is going to be that the region sum line rules apply. That let's imagine the loop went, I don't know, through here. These two regions would have to add up to the same sum. because that's the rule. And therefore that sum is going to be repeated 9 times in this puzzle. Anyway, enough giveaways. I don't think that's much of a giveaway. Let's get cracking. Let's see how we do. Okay, one thing I can do, I'm going to be colouring the loop, and I'm going to go for purple for the loop, like a snake, and green for the other cells. And we're told that none of the cage cells are on the loop. Oh, there's a 4 cage, so that's a 1-3 pair. This cage with the 9 in it is either 2-7 or 4-5. Right, we're not going to get much done without thinking about the loop. So, there we go. That's about as much as I'm going to do without thinking about the loop. Now, the loop only uses 2, 3, 5, and 7. And it goes through all 9 cages. Now, does it go through this gap? I think it must. Oh, but it can loop. Okay, I was thinking it must, because I was assuming when it moves out of box 4, it must move. Well, no, what I was thinking, and this might be wrong, but let me talk you through it, was that it can obviously pass between boxes 1 and 2, but then its other pass from box 1 must be into box 4. And now I'm in doubt. Why couldn't the loop do that and never go through that gap at all? Okay, here's why it couldn't. Because, yeah, the loop has to go into box 2. It has to appear here somewhere. It has to go into all the boxes. Now, how's it getting out of that box? One way is through box 1, and then it could come through this gap. Or, as we just saw, it could go back into box 2. But, and I don't, yeah, why I don't think it can avoid this gap now is because it can't pass twice through this one cell gap. And that's why this cage is here, so that this gap is tiny. I think that's right. So if it didn't pass through this gap, to get into box 2, it would come through this gap, then it couldn't get out again. And it's a loop. Okay, that's simple. It's simple enough. It's taken me quite a long time to explain that to the back end of my brain, which wasn't getting it. So it's going to have to come through those 2 cells. Now, I can't shade that one purple because it might diagonally turn there. But it's also now going to come into box 2, and then it's going to get out into box 3 because it can't go back through the same gap. That's fair enough. Now, these digits are obviously from the prime set, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Oh, look, one of the primes is gone in column 5 and in box 5 here. And another one will be gone in column 5 here, either 5 or 7. What does that mean for us? Now I'm just thinking about the problem of how are we going to make the loop equal using only the digits 2, 3, 5, and 7? Well, it could obviously use the same set of digits in each box it goes through. In box 2, it's going to have to use at least 3 digits. If it had to use 3 digits in every box, they'd have to be the same 3 digits. However, it could of course use, well no, it can't use all 4 digits in every box because of box 5. In fact, it can't even form a 4-cell path in box 5, although it could come in twice. The rule is very specific that box borders divide the loop into segments, and that the loop visits every box. It does not rule out it visiting a box twice. However, then it would have to equal the same sum both times. But there are ways of 2 prime digits equaling 1. 2 plus 3 equals 5. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Okay, this is going to get strange. Now, it's either 3 or 4 cells in box 2. Let's have a look at box 9. And the 20 total. Right, the loop has to come into box 9. It could just do 2 cells like this or something and get out. But, it could in theory just do 1, although that has now been ruled out by the fact that there are 3 cells at least in box 2. Because they must add up to at least 10. So it's got to hit at least 2 cells in every box. Okay, that's fact. Now, can it be 3 cells? This is interesting. No, it can't. Can the loop touch 3 cells in box 9? The reason I think it can't is because the biggest those 3 cells could be is 753. They have to be prime. That adds up to 15. And say it was those 3 cells. That would leave the last cell in the box having to equal the box total minus 20 minus 15. And if you know, if you're one of our favourite people and have heard the secret of the same total applying to every row, column and box, including box 9, you know that the total of box 9 is 45. And that would leave the last digit in box 9 having to be a 10, and they don't exist. So this is really interesting. The loop does not use 3 cells in box 9. It must use 2 from what we just discovered about the fact that it uses at least 3 in box 2. And now we know that it doesn't use all 4, because in box 9 it only uses 2 of the 4 available digits. And now we have to find a sum that can be a sum of 2 prime digits and also a sum of 3 prime digits. And, well, there are 4 possible sums of the 3 prime digits. And they are 15, 14, 12, and 10. 10, 12, 14, 15. Now, the only one of those that can be made up, oh no, there are 2 ways of making that up with 2 digits. 3, 7 to make 10, or 5, 7 to make 12. Right, I'm just going to aid memoir these. So 3, 7 to make 10. And so, yeah, I think that we're going to find that the loop is going to have 2 and 3 cell segments, because we can't match these with 1 or 4 cell segments. And it's either going to be this yellow pair or this orange pair, which will be 5, 7 and 2, 3, 7. Now, the interesting thing here, the interesting thing here is there is an overlapping digit. If we were looking at mapping the yellow cells into every grid in this box, oh, by the way, we've just established that there is no way for the loop to pass twice into one box, because each segment would have to be adding up to either 10 or 12. And the digits themselves only add up to 17, so that's no way happening. Right, there's an overlapping digit. So if we're looking at the yellow pair as sums of 3, 7 in the 2 cell boxes and sums of 2, 3, 5 in the 3 cell boxes, then 3 would be on the loop in every box in this puzzle. All 9 3s in the puzzle would be on the loop. Now that is not going to happen because of this 4 cage. So we can rule that out entirely. This is the pair. We're going to have a 5, 7 pair or a 2, 3, 7 triple on the loop in every box. And that is going to involve 7 being on the loop 9 times and therefore never appearing in a cage like this one and like this one. Isn't that fascinating? What a really intriguing deduction that I think we have to make. Now, there are going to be 7s on the loop in every box. Now, let's come back to box 9. We've got 20 in there, and we've got to now have a 2 cell loop with 7 and 5 on. That is 32. 7 and 5 are in these cells, and they're connected. That's 32. The other digits in the box, there are 2 of them, they add up to 13. They're not 5, 8, or 6, 7. So they are 4, 9. So this is a 4, 5, 7, 9 set. This cage is a 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 cage. That does add up to 20, which is a useful check to make. And this puzzle's crazy. Now, here's a fact. We're putting all the 7s in the grid onto the loop. Oh, this is weird. That means, well, there's a 7 in every perimeter row and column. There's a 7 there, there's a 7 there, there's a 7 there, and there's a 7 there. Okay. Well, I mean, sure. Is that going to mean we have to meet a 7 here? I don't know. But it means the loop reaches every perimeter of the puzzle. Oh, but look, it doesn't go up here. It doesn't go into those cells, because then it's only allowed 3 cells in each box. It'll never get out of the box into box 6. So it doesn't go into those ones. So the 7 is somewhere up here. It's not there either, because if it reached there, 3 cells wouldn't get it out of box 1. Okay, so we can start to narrow things down. It doesn't reach here either. Where is the 7? Now, it doesn't involve this cell, the loop, because this box would then have to take 3 cells of the loop. Yes, sorry, I was just checking. The one way that wouldn't happen is like that, but then the loop would re-enter box 6, and we've established it doesn't re-enter any boxes. We now know it visits every box exactly once. Still don't know whether it comes into box 5 that side or that side, but we'll get to that. It can't come through this cell, because then it would have to go 3 times. It would be connecting to box 6 above and a different box below through one of those cells. So it would have to use 3 cells. It doesn't do that. It can still come through here. In fact, does it have to use this passage? Now, how could the 7 in the bottom row be in one of these 3 cells and be on the loop without the loop coming through here? Answer me that. The loop doesn't need to use 3 cells in this row, but if it came, how would you get one of these 3 cells into the loop? You couldn't. You would have to come down from at least here into the bottom row and then try and get back up to get out, and that would take 4 cells. So, right, it's got to use these 3 cells. I think that's right. If that's wrong, leave a comment, tell me why, because I don't understand how that can be wrong. I'm going with it. So those 3 cells are the 2, 3, 7. It's either 2, 3, 7 or 7, 5 in every box. So that's on the loop, definitely now, and then one of these to get out. Now, these are not on the loop because they're in a box that doesn't use it. Now, that doesn't rule out this pair. We could still come in and get out. In fact, this is not on the loop. That's quite an interesting deduction, because you could still use 3 cells in this box in a variety of ways. But if you did use 3 cells, this would be one of 2, 3, 7 and would clash with those. So this is not on the loop, and therefore these 2 aren't on the loop. And just notice these 2 can't have a 2 and 3 in, and these 2 are a 2, 3 pair. Ah, this is so interesting. It's very clever, Klausku. If you've come up with this idea on your own, hats off. Now that's on the loop, obviously. And that is not a 2 or a 3, but it could be a 7. So I'm not ruling out that we use a 3-cell segment in this box still, which is annoying because I thought I was about to. Oh, we've got a 1, 3 pair. Yes, the loop is going to have to pass through column 5 up at the top. And it's going to use the other digit out of 2 and 7. And it is going to have a 3-cell segment in box 2. We know that already. And it's going to have to touch the top of the grid somewhere. I don't know what this is telling me. It feels like it's telling me something and I'm not hearing what the message is. We're still going to have to hit box 5. Can we hit those cells and still hit these cells where there's a 7 lurking? I don't think we can. How could you possibly get to these cells and back out and reach that and also get these while only taking 3 in each box? There's no way. There's no way. I'm actually a bit doubtful we can do it here, but I'm certain we can't do it here. So they're not on the loop. The loop goes through at least 2 cells of box 5, maybe 3, no, not 3, because it doesn't use 3. So that's a 5 or a 7. Either that pair or that pair. I strongly suspect the South, as Abraham Lincoln probably once said. Now, this is going to use 3 cells in box 4, so that's not a 5. It's going to use a 2, 3, 7 triple. But we don't know that in box 1. I want to say we don't know that yet, but we don't know it at all. Now, we're going to have to come into this box, this box, and we're going to have to come out of it twice because it's a loop. And the twice that we come out of it are going to be 2 of the 4 cells, the 4 prime cells in this column. There are only going to be a maximum of 4 purples in every row, column and box. I was about to say that this isn't purple, but that is nonsense. In fact, that is such nonsense because... Oh, yeah, I get it. We're going to have to come out of box 5 into 2 different boxes. One of them can be box 6. The other one is going to have to be here in box 7. That is a connection. So that's a 5 or a 7. This is part of the loop. I haven't actually been drawing the loop after all. I probably should have done. Blue's a terrible choice, is it? No, it doesn't. I thought it was going to spoil the pencil marks. Okay, this is definitely the loop now. Now we've got to still remember reach column 9 where there's a 7 lurking somewhere that we need to pick up. It's in one of these 2 cells, methinks. And that means we're going to use 3 cells in box 3 and 3 cells in box 6 to... Oh, not necessarily, because we could pick up the 7 there. Oh, here's why we have to use 3 cells in box 6, because we've got a 5-7 pair looking up this column now. So not only is that a 2-3, whichever digit here connects this line to the rest of the loop is also a 2-3. And once we know it's a 2-3, we have 2-3-7 in this box. And that cage is a 1-6, because the 2 and the 3 are not in it. Oh, this is brilliant. This is absolutely blimmin' brilliant. Now, the 7, well, we're going to pick up 2 7s on the loop still. Not in column 7, but in column 8. Oh, I was just going to find an elaborate way of working out this wasn't the 7. There's a much more straightforward way. Fine. Right, so we've got 2-3-7 in this box, 2-3-7 in this box, 2-3-7 in this box, but we don't know up here. So, oh look, there's a 5-7 pair, Sudoku. Sudoku is your friend. Is it your friend? Does that mean this is not a 2-cell box? No, not yet. That 5 I was thinking might mean that, because this was one of 2-3-7, but it could also be one of 7-5 still, so I need to tread carefully. Oh, I've got a 1-6 pair looking down at that cell, so I'm writing 8 in there. That's a surprise to have a green digit suddenly available. Now, these see 1, 3, 4, 5 and 2, 3, 7. So they're from 6, 8, 9. That one can't be a 9 because of the 4, 9 pair. Yes, I'd forgotten to do Sudoku, so just bear with me while I think that one through. Three of these cells. I don't think we can... Now, we could still go into that cell, weirdly. and then connect up to there. One of these is a 7. Is that any use to me in the rest of the puzzle? I don't think it is. Oh goodness, what about this digit in the 10 cage? Can't be 4, 1, 3, 5 or 7. It can't be 8 or 9 because it's in a 10 cage. Can it be 6? This would be a 1, 3 pair. If that was 2, this is either 5, 3 or 1, 7. Oh, it can't have a 7 in. So this is either 3, 1 or 3, 5 now. And there's again a 3 in it. Ah, the 3 is not in this box where there's got to be a 2, 3, 7, 3 cell loop portion. So the 3 that must now be in this cage is here. And that's not a 3 now. Ah, there is a 3 cell loop up here, but the 3 is in one of those 2 cells. And we're passing through the 2 or the 7 here. We're not using both of these cells because they would both have to be 2 and 7, and that would break this. So we're only using one of these. So we are using this cell as 2, 3, not, well, it could be 7 because we do have to get another 7. Okay, fair enough. I'm sorry, I'm saying okay to me. I've got an X-wing on 1s there, which means one of these is a 1. 3, 5, 6, 9. We also can't use, oh, this cell, 1, 6, 8 in the column, 3, 5, 9 in the row. It's 2, 4 or 7. Ah, now, if, yeah, okay. This can't be on the loop, this digit, and that's good because it's going to be a 4 then. Why can't it be on the loop? Because the loop still has to go into column 9, and it could, in theory, I mean, you could say, why can't the loop do that? And I'll tell you why it can't. Because 2, 3, and 7 are the only possible digits for that group then, and that breaks this cell down here, hiding away innocently in row 8, column 8. That's brilliant. So this is not on the loop. This is a 4. It's green. This is on the loop. I don't know that it's a 7 though. It's a 2 or a 7. And now there are 3 cells here, but again, I don't, well, this must be one of them because it has to pass through here. So that is 2, 3 or 7. It's going to use a 2 or a 3 in this column and only one cell in that column. And one cell in that column, there must be one cell in this column, and if it went there, we wouldn't be connected. So this is on the loop now. One of these 2 is a 7 because the one in this column is a 2 or a 3. So one of those is a 7, and now this cell is not a 7, and that doesn't actually move anything forward. Ah, it does. There's a 2, 3, 7 triple. So this is not on the, sorry, this is not on the loop. We're only allowed 2, 3s and 7s in box 6. So that's part of it. That's a 2 or a 3. That completes the right side of the loop. Let's draw it in. Isn't it weird how this is falling out? Now, that 2, 3, 7 triple is turning this into a 6, and this into a 1, and this not into a 1. In fact, we've got 5, neither of these can be a 5 because of the 5, 7 pairs, so that's an 8, 9 pair. I can't see if they're disambiguated, but this is a 5 now in the 21 cage. Ah, and the 3 in box 1 means that we are only getting a 2-cell loop. We can't have a 2, 3, 7 bit of loop. So we're having a 7 and a 5, and that's got to be there to get us out of the box. Aha! I'm on to you, loop man. Right, those are greens. They're not on the loop because we're only using 2. We have to go into the top row to get the 7 in the top row. Now, this 21 cage, these add up to 16. We can't use 3, 5, or 7. That's not enough information. Oh, this has become a 2. I haven't seen that. That makes a 3 down here. That makes this a 7. This is not a 7. This is a 7. And we've got that this is a 3, so that fixes 2 and 3 there, and that gives us 2 over this side. Excellent. Yes, Sudoku, always somewhere to turn. Now, that's become a 9. This is known, it's a 5, I think. 5, 7, 2, 3. We need a 4 in column 7. 5, 7, 2, 4, 3. This silly digit is 1, 6, 8, or 9. I can probably do better than that. 2, 4, 3, 7, 1, 6. These are from 5, 8, 9 and include a 5. Maybe I can't. These are a 1, 8 pair. Okay, let's go back to the 21 cage. If that's a 1, these add up to 15 and a 6, 9. If that's an 8, these add up to 8 and a 2, 6. So they always include a 6, which is a surprise. 4 is not in the cage. I don't know if that's useful. 1 or 8 is not a prime. Unsurprisingly, we're not using row 3 in box 2. We are going to use row 1. Maybe for all the digits. Don't know. These, 2 is placed in box 5. So that's an 8 or a 9. That's not a 2. That's not a 7. Only just seen that. Chocolate teapot triple. This is a 4, 5, 9 triple. That's not a 5. This one is not 5, 2, or 3, but it's a prime number. Excellent. That's the sort of thing I like to suddenly find out of the blue. Now, we've used all the primes in row... Well, no, I've placed all the primes. They're not all used on the path, but I've placed them all in row 8. Now, there's one more 5. Oh, the 5 is not on the line in box 7. So we are going to need 2 and 3 to be on the line. Well, 2's in one of those positions and 3's in one of those. And they're both on the line. Oh, that's fabulous logic. That means this can't be the 3. This is a completely new idea in logic that in the half hour I've been doing this puzzle, I haven't thought in this way at all yet. And that's what Klausku can do. If this was a 3, by Sudoku that would be a 2. And you couldn't link these up. So that is not where the 3 is. That's where the 3 is. Doesn't tell me where the 2 is, but that's the 3, and it's on the line because we need a 732 region. And now we're using 732 in box 4 as well. And right, we know where we're going in box 4, because if we went here, we would never get into column 1 where there is a 7. So we're coming through these cells in box 4, and they're a 3, 7 pair. I still don't know where 2 is because the loop, weirdly, could come, you can see it, can either come that way or this way. So the 2's not resolved. Oh, this digit sees 2, 3, 5 and 7 now. That's green, so this is purple and is 3 or 7 on the loop. That doesn't do anything else. That's so strange. In this column, there's a 2 or 7 on the loop, but I don't know which it is. And in this column, a 2 or 3, but I don't know which it is. There's some very unbalanced deductions in this puzzle somehow. Right. 3, 7. What am I doing there? Let's look up and down this column. Right, yes. We need a 4 and a 9 in column 1. We've got one of them there. We're not allowed to put the other one here because it's already there in box 9. So it's got to be a 9 up here. So this is a 6, 9 pair. That fixes this digit as a 1. That's an 8. Now, this is going to do stuff. 9, 8, 9, 6, 9. No 9 in these cells. These are from 1, 6, 9. They can't have a 6, actually. That was from the column, but I hadn't spotted that. This is an 8 in the Lone Rider cage. That was really just a block to the line. Now, that was good. That was a whole bunch of Sudoku stuff. Now, in column 4, we've got to put a 5, and it's got to go there. The other digits are a 1, 4 pair. Odd that they're not resolved. 9, 8, 5, 7. This is definitely all going to be done by Sudoku now, somehow. Oh, look, 1, 1. We can place a 1 in column 2. That gives me a 4 there. That sorts out the 1, 4 pair I just found a moment ago. That sorts out 9, 6. 8 in row 2 is there. Now I can fill in 2 and 4. 2 is on the path. Oh, that's so weird. The path is going to dip down because 4 is not on the path and then bump up again. Isn't that fabulous? Wasn't expecting that at all. The path is like a little cat ears at the top. Now that's a naked, well, it sees a 5, 7 pair, so it becomes a naked 3. This is going to sort out all of those cells on the path. I can green that one. And I can also fill in the digit. It's a 6. This is 4 and 2 in box 1. This is 6 and 9. That 6 looks across the rows and does a lot of the digits across the rows. Oh, it's brilliant. This is so clever. 4 and 8. I mean, they were never on the path. I should have greened them a long time ago. But now we got a 2 there. So we can fill in our last path digit. Purple there, green there. We can complete the actual path itself. There we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. That's a 4. That's a 9. That's a 6. That's an 8. I don't think I've made logical mistakes in this puzzle. I might have not picked something up, but that's an occupational hazard, frankly. But this completes a fabulous puzzle. Let's actually get rid of the green. Oh. How do I do that? Let's do that this way. Just so we can see the path in its glory in case it's meant to be a picture or a map. Anyway, there we go. That's fabulous. Oh, I see, it's sad. 20 people have done that in a month and a half. Well, I'm glad we're up to 20 now, and I hope a lot of people have a go at that brilliant puzzle. Actually, in some ways, I can't believe I've got that done in under 32 minutes because felt I was really struggling in the early parts when I was having to work out the maths behind box visiting. It's really clever, this. I mean, I love it. I really love it. It's so superb. Well done, Klausku. Thank you for sending us that and giving us the chance to feature it on the channel. Such a privilege to get to feature puzzles like this. And we hope you'll join us for more tomorrow because there's always more coming to the channel every day. Dozens of them, frankly. It's hard to select. We will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.